Listen, you know those small towns in the middle of the United States? The ones where nothing ever happens? Well, sometimes those quiet places are better at keeping secrets buried. This was 2001, deep in the woods of rural Pennsylvania. The kind of place where silence is heavy and full of traps.
So meet Jason and Mike. They're 18, full of gas and bad decisions. These two were classic small-town rebels, vandalizing stores, breaking into abandoned houses, graffitiing monuments in the town square. Just the usual chaos to break the suffocating boredom of their quiet lives. They were even good kids, but their biggest vice was thinking they were invincible and smart. Their high self-confidence was actually a flaw in their genetic code. Our third character is Walter Thorne. No relation to the New York guy from the previous story. Just bad luck with names. Walter was 34 and lived in the forgotten, run-down part of town. He was a computer technician, a man who worked alone in his simple home repairing broken computer parts. Walter lived on cheap coffee and circuit boards. He was quiet, didn't socialize much, and preferred the dead logic of hardware to the mess of people. He regularly relaxed by camping in the nearby woods. Their paths crossed one night when Jason and Mike were leaving town. They destroyed the local gas station pump. A true act of genius, right? And the police were not amused. They fled the scene, abandoning their car and running into the woods until they spotted the small, comforting glow of a campfire. Walter sat there, calm as a rock, camping. He didn't seem surprised to see two terrified, panting teenagers crash his party. He simply nodded and offered them lukewarm coffee. Fearful of the police, they strangely accepted Walter's polite invitation to share what they had for shelter that night. The next day, after Walter left early to fish, Mike, rummaging through the tent, simply looking for something to steal or mess with, found no drugs or money, but rather a bizarre collection. Walter wasn't just the town's weirdo. He was a horrific collector of cadaver fingers. We're talking dozens of them, cataloged with photos, preserved in small glass jars, each with a wedding ring. Gold, silver, cheap aluminum. Jason and Mike realized, with a thud echoing in their heads, that Walter wasn't just collecting, he was enjoying this obsessive activity. Jason and Mike, through their own tribunal, took immediate action. They decided, with terrible clarity, that Walter had to disappear from the planet. They decided to tie him up, sink him in the river, and then steal all the rings from his collection. They found Walter on the riverbank, and without explanation, distracted him and tried to kill him. But it wasn't as easy as they'd hoped. As the three attacked each other, a loud sound from the other bank filled the entire area. It was a scrawny creature with weathered, hairless skin. Its face was a primitive deformity, and its enormous claws could easily slice through human flesh. Around its neck hung a necklace of human skulls, and slung across its back was a gigantic black sack, full and emitting a strong, foul odor. None of the three knew what it was, but I, as someone familiar with this story, can tell you. But first, subscribe since you've made it this far. Back to the point, this mythical creature is called the Collector of the Dead. It's a scavenger that claims the bodies and limbs of those who die violently in the forests, forgotten. Jason, Mike, and the now free Walter were paralyzed by the knowledge that they would be savagely killed. Then they ran. They stumbled through the dark forest, the terrifying sounds of the Collector of the Dead following them. They made it out, curiously alive. Life seemed to have returned to normal for everyone, but in a strange way. Jason and Mike's parents were distant, completely ignoring their presence, as if they didn't exist.
Walter no longer had any clients or work. He decided to search the internet, wanting to know what was out there in the forest, but without a coherent explanation, he gave up.
Then the visions began. Each of them started seeing the forest creature in various places where they were. Mike saw a thin figure in the doorway of his room. Jason saw that empty gaze staring at him in the school bathroom. And Walter saw the creature's claw marks on computer monitors. Mental chaos had been unleashed upon them.
Days later, during the town's Halloween celebration, the three accidentally crossed paths. Words turned into accusations and shouting, a suffocating tension that seemed to go unnoticed by the other people nearby. It was as if the commotion wasn't even happening in the middle of the street.
Silence! A sharp voice emerged from the background, leaving the bullies stunned. Mounted on a large bear, a sinister old man wearing a long yellow cloak approached. Without hesitation, the new character said that Mike, Jason, and Walter were arguing over something that no longer belonged to them. But how could that be? The shadowy man told them that the fight in the river had ended differently. All three had drowned in the current. The malevolent being roared, warning that he had walked through all these forests before the first settlers arrived, and that now the three of them should work for him if they wanted their bodies to be found by the living and finally be able to rest in peace. In a few seconds, they began to vomit all the water they had swallowed in their deaths. None of them knew it yet, but they would live in painful cycles, and with their minds tormented by the final moments of their deaths, until they paid what they owed.